Anthony Joshua takes on Otto Wallin on December 23rd in Saudi Arabia. This is yet another fight set to take place in the Riyadh season. I, as a fan, just want to say a massive thank you to Turki Al-Sheikh, a proper boxing geezer that loves to see two men thump the living daylights out of each other. He loves putting up the money up for it, doesn't he? Bash! We need more fights like this, despite it not being Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. This fight, mate, it's still a great fight. A very, very competitive fight. You cannot deny this is probably the best boxing card ever put on in history. The day of reckoning. Wallin is game as they come. He doesn't lie down. He puts it all on the line. A lot of people are saying, and I agree, this is a possible banana skin fight for AJ. A real nail biter. We don't want to see Wallin send him into retirement. It would be a solid shame if we did not see Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua. But let the best man win and the most deserving man get the big fight at the end of it. Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker is not a foregone conclusion either. It's a tough fight. These are both slip and slidey fights. They could go either way. Who knows? They both really have tough fights in front of them. December 23rd, we find out if it is a banana skin or not. As for this fight, I think it's a 55-45 in Anthony Joshua's favour. I think it all depends on what AJ we get. What I mean by that is, what mental state is Anthony Joshua going to be in on that ring on that night? Confidence, as we all know, has been a massive issue for him, especially after that loss to Andy Ruiz. He doubts himself, he questions his boxing ability, and he goes through trainers like I go through McDonald's. He seemed really on edge in that press conference, especially with Jarrell Miller. Just kept on biting at him. It was like he was starring in Top Boy, and then when he came to that head-to-head with Otto Wallin, it's like he channeled his inner Sully. He went roadman business blood. You can tell that he's not cut from the same cloth. This persona just doesn't suit him. That darkness retreat has really done something to him. Darkness is his ally. I don't know if I sound like Palpatine or Bane, but let's just go with it. Bane, AJ. I think he's still with Derek James, but he seems to have added Ben Davidson into his corner. According to rumours, Ben Davidson is meant to be working in his corner on that night. Derek James isn't a part of the corner. To be fair to him, this addition has proved successful to a lot of fighters like Wardley, Leigh Wood, etc. But sometimes you can just have too many voices in that corner. You can get confused. It could potentially make AJ question his style. Every trainer has their techniques, their sort of boxing training methods. These methods will be different. So could we have a confused AJ in the ring on that night? Especially if things go south. This decision potentially might hinder him. He might not know what tactics to employ. This is one of his major weaknesses, just like doubting himself. He's not an instinctual fighter. He doesn't really adapt. He's just very heavily focused on the game plan. Otto Wallin, on the other hand, is a game fighter. He fights out the southpaw stance. As we know, southpaws cause orthodox fighters a world of problems. And obviously with the last two fights against Usyk being a southpaw, he didn't deal great against him. But Otto Wallin is a different kettle of fish. He isn't a supreme boxer like Usyk. Doesn't move like him. He's a pound shop version of him. Not a pound shop, but maybe an Aldi version of Usyk. Aldi do some pretty good food, so he is still, a good level fighter. He's relatively quick on his feet. He's tough. He's a no-quit fighter. He comes forward mostly, but he can also fight on the back foot. He's a great counter puncher too. He can also make the fight dirty if he wishes. He's not afraid to get told off by the ref, make things a little bit messy. He's a relatively decent boxer. Not the most powerful, but he likes applying that pressure. I think at the last 10 fights, he's only scored 1 KO. So proof is in the pudding. He's not a puncher. He has those pudding hands, but he does love getting stuck in. This might be another reason why AJ picked Wallin. he won't be able to test these whiskers. But don't get it confused at all. Wallin can still take AJ out. AJ's chin is not exactly brilliant. The fight he had with Tyson Fury showed his rough ruggedness, his determination. It was a tough fight for Fury, and if Fury wasn't the A side and the money draw, we could have potentially seen a loss on Tyson Fury's record. Otto Wallin caused a horrendous cut on Tyson Fury's eyebrow. It was brutal, bloody as hell. Wallin really pushed the pressure in that fight. It was very close. He's also now coming off a few decent wins. One of the wins he's recently had has gone under the radar. He went to the man's home country against Murat Gassiev. One thing you would have to say Wallin has over AJ is he has those cojones. He has a really strong will, a lot of confidence, and really applies himself. AJ needs to be strong mentally in order to win this. Otto Wallin definitely could try and break AJ's will. However, I know AJ can win this. He is the quicker, more explosive fighter, and I don't believe Wallin has come up against somebody like AJ before. Not in the professional ranks. Wallin's fast as well, but I know who I'd pick in a good old-fashioned shootout. AJ most definitely won't be able to fight the same way he did it against Robert Helenius. It was just way too tentative. Helenius was tentative himself, especially after that loss he had against Deontay Wilder. Man got sent into the shadow realm. So this did work in AJ's favour. He won't be able to get away with fighting like this against Wallin, especially with the momentum he's coming off. He's oozing confidence. What he's going to have to do is get stuck in like Fury did. Get behind his jab, be the bully, push him back and fight him on the inside. AJ's the better inside fighter out of the two. As we saw, Fury had to switch up the tactics in that fight. Outboxing him, boxing him on the back foot wasn't working. He was just getting pushed up against the ropes and unloaded on. Instead, he had to go on the front foot, really apply the pressure, meet momentum with momentum. He had to bring the heat, outman him, outstrength him. AJ is a good inside fighter. He's strong on the inside, so he can't be hesitant in that respect. He needs to gain the respect of Wallin. Otherwise, I see Wallin potentially outboxing AJ and winning on points. What he can't do is he can't come out jab, jab and grab. Those tactics won't work. The size difference between both men isn't massive. I think there's literally an inch between them. So definitely, for sure, he won't be able to keep him on the end of the jab all night. He's not 6'2", you know, he's not a short fighter. That sort of style would just expend too much energy. He would have to move around a lot, and AJ won't be able to consistently do that. All I know is AJ's gas tank is going to have to be good, because Wallin has some lungs on him, boy. AJ knows Wallin, and vice versa. They've shared 2 fights in the amateur ranks, and they've shared countless rounds in sparring. Again, that might be why AJ's picked this fight. That familiarity might have made AJ confident in picking this fight and seeing a win. He's already beaten him twice already, and I know there's been some time in between, but that definitely would play a factor in the psychological warfare between him and Wallin. Wallin will have that in the back of his head. AJ's got some good intel, he knows how he fights, and also it's a good respectable fight after 2 sort of nothing fights he's had previously. A lot of people are respecting this fight for sure, but he can't hedge his bets on the past. Wallin's improved night and day since the amateur ranks. His confidence is really oozing at the moment, so AJ's going to have to do a lot to knock that down a peg. If AJ comes in confident, I see him winning by late stoppage, but I most likely see a points win for Joshua. Wallin has only been stopped once in his amateur and pro career, so man has some tough whiskers. So I don't think it's likely that he's going to get a stoppage on the cards. It's an interesting one, not a foregone conclusion at all. Will we get the rough, rugged fighter from AJ? Or will we get the new, tentative, jibbity jab, don't hit me fighter? All I know is Otto Wallin's hungry and he's going to go hell for leather for that victory. Anyway, if you did enjoy this video, please make sure you drop a like, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bash.